Good evening and welcome to the October 3rd meeting of the Milton School Committee. As is our tradition, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we get started this evening, I'd like you to join me in a moment of silence. This week, former Milton resident and elected official, State Senator Brian Joyce, passed away unexpectedly. Former Senator Joyce is an individual to whom the schools and the town owes a tremendous debt, and we extend our condolences to his family. Thank you. All right, so for this evening, are we going to add the, do we have new members for the Health and Wellness Committee?
Yeah.
Do you want to add those in your committee report?
I think that they're there.
Okay.
Hold on one second. So the only, no, they're all there.
They're all there. Okay,
yeah,
good.
She updated it all.
Good. All right, in that case, we have no additions to the agenda. I'd like to take this moment and welcome our new recording secretary, Ms. Mitchell. Welcome. We look forward to working with you for years to come, hopefully.
Oh, boy.
Unless you tire of us sooner. All right, and I think we have an individual here for Citizen Speak.
Donahue, Mike Zulis, 69 Fairbanks Road, president of the Milton Library Foundation. I'm here tonight for a quick commercial to tell everyone where they want to be 2 weeks from tonight, October 17th, 2018. Where you will want to be is at the Milton Library Foundation Gala, which will be at the Granite Links Golf Club in Quincy. It's going to be a great event. It will likely be the event of the year in Milton. We're going to have appetizers, we're going to have cocktails, we're going to have music, we're going to have great food. We're going to have Chris Keating, who's a former NFL player and Milton resident. The theme of the evening will be football. Our main presenter will be Upton Bell, former Patriots GM, sports personality, and talk show host. He'll be talking about his book, Present at the Creation, which chronicles the early years of the NFL, and he'll be talking about that and contrasting it with the present-day NFL, and he'll be taking questions. We're going to be honoring those who brought us the revitalization of the library about 10 years ago, those who served in the Library Study Committee and the Library Building Committee. We're going to be honoring those individuals, including among those we're going to be honoring is Jen White, who is the sister-in-law of Betty White, and Dr. Giuliano, who served on one of those committees as well. So it's going to be a great event, and in addition, you'll get to see Library Director Will Adamczak and yours truly, as you have never seen us before, and will never see us again. So it's going to be a one-time event. It's going to be a lot of fun. There will be a strong Milton Public School flavor that evening. We're going to have music from the Milton High School Music Department for the cocktail hour. We're going to have a table with given the football theme, we're going to have a table with Coach Dembowski and 9 of his players, and we're going to have photographers from the Milton High School Photography Club. So there'll be a strong Milton Public School presence. It's going to be a great event. I understand you all have a meeting. The only thing I can say is call in sick, play hooky. We'll give you a note because you're not going to want to miss the event. Granite Links Golf Club, Quincy, Mass. 2 weeks from tonight, October 17th. Get your tickets as soon as you can. You might want to adjourn the meeting so people can get their tickets at the website mlfliterarygala.org. That's mlfliterarygala.org. Get your tickets. It's going to be a great event. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Superintendent.
Thank you, Chairman Donahue. We had a very exciting Sunday, Celebrate Milton. Celebrated, was it its 20th or 25th year at the Pierce School. Lori Billowitz wrote to me that they found a home at the Pierce School. And just as Mike Zulis mentioned, the strong school impact on the foundation event, the freshman football team set up Celebrate Milton, and she wrote to me that night they couldn't do it without the football team setting up and taking it down. The highlight for many of us was the award ceremony of the community builders, and we were particularly proud in our advancement initiatives, our achievement initiatives. We've identified the correlation between involvement in athletics and music and drama to student achievement, and through the work that we've done over the last decade, we realize that that involvement really starts at elementary school. So Tucker parent Winston Daly and our own assistant principal, curriculum director Kat DeRoche at the Tucker have begun an unbelievable program now in its second year, involving children in music lessons and athletic teams, networking these children into the very involved athletic programs that so many of you are involved in. But if you're new to the community and you're not connected, you don't know how to sign up for traveling, get into traveling soccer. So Celebrate Milton recognized the two of them. Celebrate Milton recognized Lori Stillman for her help in launching the Milton Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition. I'm very proud to say that I nominated and won Jerry Vitti, Becky Padera, and J.P. Plunkett for coordinating this Challenger Baseball League. Every Sunday in the spring, Jerry Vitti, all due respect to Becky Padera, Jerry Vitti and J.P. Plunkett began this program for children with special needs to play baseball. They have organized teams, they play, they actually bring them to across Massachusetts to competitions. Jerry Vitti and J.P. Plunkett at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon will cancel a game due to thunder and lightning. They are committed to this. You have to see it to believe it and understand it. So that was a wonderful recognition. And last but not least, our own Karen Horan and Reverend Rayshore for the co-founders of the Courageous Conversations Towards Racial Justice. So those were well-earned and celebrated recognitions. Our MCAS data is in. I was telling Dr. Craighead that we usually have our data specialist do a presentation of our SAT, AP, and MCAS data, and under the direction of this committee, we're trying to streamline that presentation. We're still waiting for more levels of AP data to arrive, and so I'm working with the chair on when that presentation is going to happen, but the MCAS data is public, as you saw, and anyone who wants to dig deeper can read my blast last week, and there are links to Vivu and our principals. Janet Glenn and I prepared a very detailed presentation that will give you some excellent comparative data of how the district did and the new accountability system. But we are mailing tomorrow to arrive in the homes of Milton parents and guardians on Tuesday or Wednesday the parent reports on MCAS. Those will be mailed by Friday. School has begun, and I would encourage parents and guardians to check the calendar. We have a conflict, and we work hard. Charlene Roach should be recognized. We work hard to maximize every night of the week to 24/7. We have a conflict, and I apologize. Thursday night is the Glover Open House, and it's also for parents and guardians of students in grades 5 through 8, Milton High School Information Night. But Principal Jett is going to plan and issue additional information nights within the next 2 months. But as I explained, we understand that this is a competitive process, and parents and guardians and students are out at private and parochial schools, and we want to be competitive with them. So that's a very important night for us. This coming Tuesday, October 16th, the Milton High School Boosters have their Swing for Sports at the Wollaston Golf Course. We want to recognize the Wollaston Golf Course for donating the facility. And if you don't play golf, they have an event. You can go online on the front of the Milton Public School website and show up for the dinner or support the event. This is really their large fundraiser that provides them the funds that then they return to the teams. October 17th, Milton High School Financial Aid Night, an important night for Milton Public School, high school parents and guardians. The CPAC will have their first board meeting, the parents of children with special needs, on October 18th in the Pierce Library from 7 to 9. Circle on your calendar the highlight of the year. I should have brought Mr. Zulus back. He was always a big hit at that, at the Monster Dash. And so circle October 28th, Cunningham Park. More information will come out on that. And at the next meeting, Ms. Varela always reminds us, and now they wait to be invited, the Milton High School players will bring,
Les Mis.
right, we'll do a spot at our next school committee meeting.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to that, and the Monster Dash. That's always a highlight of the year. Thank you. All right. So next we have our delegate. We need to appoint our delegate to the MASC conference. There was some interest expressed by Dr. Craighead. All of us are invited and eligible to attend. The responsibility of the delegate is to be there to vote on the resolutions. So I'd like to appoint a delegate, and I'd like to appoint an alternate if for some reason there's weather or car issues or something like that. So if anyone else would be interested in serving as either the delegate or alternate.
I'll be the alternate if you want to do the delegate. Yeah, does that sound good? Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Is this stuff on the Thursday?
No, it's on the Friday afternoon.
Oh, it's Friday afternoon, okay. Because I have to say, I just realized that even though I signed up to go to this, that I then moved my health and wellness meeting to the 2nd, which is the Friday, but I am away the other weekend and I can't change it because it's too big a list. So I'll go there on Thursday, but I won't be able to go Friday. So unless I could drive down after the meeting, I could leave at 9 and be there for the afternoon sessions.
Oh, the afternoon session is when the delegate assembly is.
Yeah.
So if there's any emergency,
Yeah.
you could actually make it.
There you go. Okay.
Problem solved.
Yeah, problem solved.
And then you could remote into your conference to the subcommittee.
No, the committee, that meets 8 to 9, but I could
Right.
come down after is what Dr. Craig had to so nicely say. Yes, yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to nominate. Does anyone else any other interest from our Dr. Craighead as our delegate, and Vice Chair Varela as our alternate delegate to the MASC. And can I have a second?
Second.
Second, White. Thank you very much. All in favor? Wonderful. Unanimous. Congratulations. All right. So in front of you, you have the resolutions that the MASC will be voting on. We'll go through them one by one, and I'll give a brief synopsis for those watching at home. The first resolution is the arming of educators, and in the interest of time, I will skip the whereas clauses and read the therefore be it resolved. So therefore be it resolved that the Massachusetts Association of School Committees rejects the notion of providing firearms to educators. So yes, so I'm going to move that we vote in support of that resolution.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor? Wonderful. All right, so that's a yes
Okay.
from us. Resolution 2, small and rural districts. Therefore, be it resolved that the MASC call for the creation of a working group to advise the legislature on the best public policy solutions to support small and rural school districts. And further, that this group propose modifications to the foundation budget and other elements of Chapter 70, et cetera, et cetera. And notably, that the MASC opposes legislation or unlegislated regulations that would attempt to undermine the right of any city, town, or regional district to have imposed on it a mandate that would restructure, expand, regionalize, or dissolve its school district without its consent. So I'm going to move that we vote in support of this resolution.
Second.
All right, so a second, Varela. Any additional discussion? All in favor? Unanimous? Thank you. Resolution 3, the elimination of the Federal Department of Education. Therefore, be it resolved that the MASC works with the federal delegation to reject any notion of combining the U.S. Department of Education with any other governmental departments. And I'm going to move that we vote to support this resolution.
Second.
Second, Craighead. Any further discussion? All in favor? That's unanimous. Resolution 4, regional school transportation.
I'm excited about this one. Very much so.
Wish I could vote for it.
Me too.
If only the resolution
But
would
Dr.
carry into law.
Pavlicek feels that way as well.
Therefore, be it resolved that, to promote greater competition for bus service contracts, the legislature should eliminate Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 71, Subchapter 7C, and authorize a deeper analysis on the lack of bidders on school transportation contracts. I'm going to move that we vote in support of this resolution.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. And just for the record, for all of these, I'm going to move, at least for the purpose of discussion, that we support. So if people feel strongly to the contrary, then we can have that conversation. But just as a matter of procedure, to get the ball rolling. Resolution 5, reporting and accountability standards. Therefore, be it resolved that the Massachusetts Association of School Committees works with the legislature and Board of Elementary and Secondary Education to ensure that all students or persons in schools that receive public funds under the authority of the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education or a local public school district are held to the same standards and requirements as the Commonwealth, in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So I'm going to move that we vote in support of that resolution.
Second.
Second, Varela. Any further conversation? All in favor? Unanimous? Thank you. Resolution 6, reproductive health education. Therefore, be it resolved that the Massachusetts Association of School Committees supports evidence-based reproductive health curricula. Further, we call upon the U.S. Department of Education and the executive branch to stop their support of abstinence-only education. I'm going to move in support of that resolution.
Second.
Second, White. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous? Resolution 7, gender identity inclusive athletic participation policy. Therefore, be it resolved that the Massachusetts Association of School Committees help file legislation which would have the effect of protecting LGBTQ students from discrimination, harassment, and bullying. By that, schools should treat, well, clunky wording, but by that, schools should treat students based on their gender identity, protecting their privacy, providing access to gender-neutral restrooms, locker rooms, private stall showers, using their preferred pronouns, embedding sensitivity training in professional development, and providing uniform accommodations. I'm going to move in favor of supporting this resolution.
Second.
All right, so we'll second Varela. Any further? All in favor? Unanimous? Resolution 8, sports wagering. Therefore, be it resolved that the Massachusetts Association of School Committees requests that, should the General Court enact legislation to legalize wagering on sporting events, the General Court shall commit a portion of the revenues generated from sports wagering to public education. Going to move in support of
Second.
this resolution? Was that a second, Craighead?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, wonderful. All in favor? Unanimous? Wonderful. And as an editorial, I would mention to our delegates that if conversation around this ensues, it would be worthwhile making the observation that we should endeavor to protect our high school students from the trickle-down effects of sports betting and gambling in the Commonwealth, should it come to pass. Resolution 9, access to information for parents and students who are clients of special education. Therefore, be it resolved that the MASC urges the legislature to amend state law to require that parents and students be provided with a copy via email or mail of all the assessments that are performed for students in the family's preferred language at least 5 days prior to any meeting at which the parents and students will review a proposed individual's education plan, IEP. I'm going to move in support.
Second.
Second, Varela.
Can I have a question?
Yes.
Is that a change from the previous? It's from 3 days to 5?
It's 2 days, I believe now.
Oh, I thought it was 3.
But that's just
think it's
urging,
two.
correct? It's not actually something that's.
Okay, that's just a
Right, it's
recommendation.
the
All right,
urging the
okay,
legislature, right? There's,
Yeah.
that's an urging, not like that there's actually something on the table that they said.
okay.
I don't think anyway.
All right. Yes, that seems as though it would be helpful. All right. So therefore, so we have a motion and a second. All right. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. All right. And then there's a proposal to amend our association bylaws. The board asks, well, not later than July 1. So they are looking to change the date in that section from July 1 to June 1. That would, I think, permit them more time to vet these resolutions. And so I would move that we support the proposal to the MASC bylaws.
Second.
A second, Varela. All those in favor? Unanimous. All right, good. So it should be easy to vote that ticket. Thank you, and thank you for your work at the conference this month. So the last thing on my report was a revision of our subcommittee's advisory membership list. I simply wanted to make sure that all of the members of our health and wellness subcommittee, some of which are statutorily required and others are there as sort of best, what we think are best practices, are impaneled officially. So to read the members into the record, that's Vice Chair Varela, who's the chair of that advisory committee, Member Rosemarin, Jacqueline Morgan, Noel Vigue, Superintendent Gormley, Assistant Superintendent Sheehan, Dr. Karen Spalding, James Jett, Holly Kincannon, Margaret Gibbons, Caroline Kinsella, Vicki McCarthy, Lori Stillman, Scott Devlin, Richard Garino, Ryan Madden, Marty McKenna, Alexander, is it Renee? And Eliza O'Donnell. So yes.
Yeah, I want to make a note. I know member Rosemary can't be here. So she can't make the Friday dates most of the time. I mean, she still wants to be able to drop in when she can. But I put this out in the minutes, that we did try to pick another date, but it was like a house of cards falling, that all of a sudden, Dr. Spalding couldn't make Monday, and Marty McKenna couldn't make this day, and, Holly McKenna couldn't make Wednesdays, and it just kind of all started to fall apart. So really Friday is the day that we have to kind of stick to it. So, I mean, we can keep her on, but it's more like she drop in when she can, I guess.
Good.
So we can leave
Okay.
her on, but, she
Good.
really won't be there that much.
So I'm going to just to ensure that we're going to move approval of said members as members of our Health and Wellness Advisory Committee. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second, Varela. All in favor? Aye, unanimous, okay. I believe everybody was on the, was already in there?
Can I ask
But
a
just
question
wanna
about
make
this?
sure.
The Inclusion Task Force isn't listed on any of these subcommittees or outside task force.
Yes.
I don't know if that just
I
should be
think,
included or not.
yeah, I think that has, there are other avenues that we're pursuing that through. at the moment, but if that reconstitutes itself, we'll look for a member to be part of that. No, I'm
I
sorry.
am a
I'm sorry.
member,
I'm sorry. Yes. No, I was thinking of
All right.
something else. So we'll make sure that gets added
All
to
right.
this list. My apologies. I was
No problem.
I was thinking of the town school consolidated.
Oh, yeah.
And I have another question too on this. So, I know, even to Member White for transportation, I know that when we met last month, that we still don't have a, I don't want to say still don't have, I'm going to make that change, that Carrie Forg is on it, and she's no longer, she was the Pierce
Yeah,
representative.
she's not available.
And, yeah, and in turn, Brian Canavan, who has a student at Cunningham and a student at Pierce, said that he would be the rep, sort of, for both schools.
That's Canavan with a K.
A C,
C.
C-A-N-A-V-A-N.
All right. All right. So I'll move that we remove Ms. Forg and add Mr. Canavan as a member of the transportation and.
He's already there, it's just that he's going to
He's gonna
serve.
cover two
Oh,
He
he's
schools.
gonna cover two
He
schools.
already does Cunningham, and he said, I have one at each, so
Okay.
he said we could be both, so.
All right.
So then I think we have Glover, let me say Glover, Tucker, Collicott, Cunningham, Pierce. Yeah. and then-
Good.
Okay.
And Jim and Donahue, would the Inclusion Task Force be under representatives to outside boards?
Yes.
Boards and task forces? But
Uh,
not outside.
We're not really
or
outside, yeah.
Joint school subcommittees. I would probably put that under, it's probably its own entity.
We'll add that.
Yeah, its own standalone category.
What I can do is I can email you the names of the members on that task force, okay?
Perfect.
Because
Thank
there's
you.
been some changes.
Thank you. All right. Well, it is certainly more, now that the state has required we vote all the members, and it's certainly become more cumbersome, but
Just want to, since we're
Yeah,
here, just want to get it all
especially
cleared up.
since
since it is,
Yeah.
all right. So why don't I'll move that we strike Ms. Forg from the members of the Transportation and Traffic Advisory Committee. Can I get a second?
Second
Second,
that.
Varela? All in favor? Thank you. Unanimous. Whew. All right.
A lot of work to develop those things.
Finance Subcommittee.
Okay, at our last finance meeting, we mostly focused on the technology capital requests for fiscal year '20 in preparing our budget. And to that end, we had Bob Pattison, who's the Director of Informational Technology, A.J. Melanson, who is the Educational Technology Director, and Dr. Karen Spalding, who's the principal of Pierce Middle School, come to speak with us about Pierce going one-to-one with Chromebooks starting in the fall of 2019. So we discussed that. Mr. Melanson prepared 2 PowerPoint presentations for us, talked to us about a needs survey that had been given to teachers, and as well as the ways in which they were using technology. Principal Spalding talked to us about the fact that the technology that they have on hand, which I believe is 12 carts of Chromebooks, is constantly in demand, and there's just not enough to go around, et cetera. So we voted, after listening to them and spending, as I said, the majority of our time in finance talking about it, the finance subcommittee voted in favor of the capital expense request for technology for fiscal year '20. We did not vote on the future years, the years going out from '21 to '24, but simply focused on our budget for the next year. And that capital request subtotal for technology is $375,300. We also discussed the facilities capital request for fiscal year '20. All of the things that Bill Ritchie listed on there are absolute dire needs, most of them having to do with safety and security. So in many ways, they were no-brainers, and we need to do our due diligence to maintain the schools that were built 15 years ago. So the subtotal for facilities that we voted in favor of for fiscal year '20, and again, we did not push it out to subsequent years. We didn't vote on the whole 5-year plan. We simply voted fiscal year '20, and that request was $583,000 even. No change involved. And so I would like to make a motion to school committee that we accept the technology and finance and facilities requests, capital requests for fiscal year '20 in the amounts of $375,300 and $583,000 respectively.
I'll second that.
Yes.
Great. Second, Mike.
Yes.
Member Rowe.
Please.
With regard to the Chromebook replacement, did AJ speak about and Dr. Spalding speak about, are they, the rollout, are they going to do what they did at the high school where the end of this school year, they would reach out to parents to try to get a sense of how many kids could bring their own and then figure out how many they would have to supply?
No, after consulting with Dr. Spalding and using common sense, it was decided that having the Chromebooks in the classrooms and staying in the classrooms was the best idea at the middle school level.
So one-to-one.
One-to-one, that there would be a cart in every classroom, and that students might be assigned like a computer, like number 20 on the Chromebook cart and be responsible for taking it out and putting it in there. But to have these Chromebooks, like transporting them from class to class or taking them home, that the rate of damage and loss would be such that we wouldn't want to incur those added expenses.
Right, but what I'm
terms of the
saying,
replacement.
and do they also feel that they're just too young to be able to bring their Chromebook from home and have it in their backpack and take
Yes.
notes and do what they do at the high school?
Yes.
They don't carry backpacks at Peters, right? That's also.
They don't go backpacks from class to
But
class?
if I might, so they'll be in each core classroom.
Right, I get it all.
No,
but
they
I-
don't think that they should go home.
And so they don't, so I guess this is my question. How much do they use them? Because how they're using them at the high school now is that really, I mean, even when I ask the kids, I mean, some of them definitely still take a certain amount of notes via the old way, pen and paper. But a lot of them, when you go around to the classrooms, you know, just because, again, what they did for the outreach in college, right? Because everyone has a laptop or a device for note-taking, taking notes, whatever. And then those are your notes that you study, that you do whatever with. So they would just be using the Chromebook in class to just look stuff up and
No. That Dr. Spalding talked about the fact that every single discipline, every single kind of class, whether it's a science class doing stuff with temperature scaling and having to do that on computers, to an art class where they're loading up their portfolios, to a history class where they're, you know, going in and looking at something. She said it's all across the board, and they cannot satisfy everyone's needs with what they have now. It's just become a competition amongst the different teachers as to who can get them on what days, and there's no continuity. Like if you're using them in science class for a particular project, you can't check out those cards for a week. It's a day-by-day thing. If in a writing class you're trying to have students upload their writing portfolios and you have it for one day instead of the whole week that you're working on that, it doesn't work. And so it's about a continuity class. And I asked a very similar question in terms of how widespread the need seemed to be, whether it was, we're only buying them for the core courses. And then the 12 carts that are already there will be used for all the other language, art, music, etc. But for the core courses in social studies, language arts, math, and science, they will have, all the classrooms will have Chromebooks for them.
Okay, I guess I just can't follow, unless they're assessing the curriculum online, like i.e. if they're using a Duglitel math book for math, that you'd take your laptop, you'd have it there, you'd pull up the lesson. You know, I don't understand why everyone needs to have one for every class if, how they use it if it's not going to be their own personal device to be able to like do their work, note take, save things.
It's in the cloud.
It's all in the
They use
cloud.
Google Classroom, right? So
Yeah.
They've all
they
got
just
an
do
account.
everything in Google Classroom. And they use
That's what
Okay,
I'm
okay.
pointing
Google
to the
Forms,
ceiling.
and
Okay.
testing,
All right.
Yes.
quizzes.
They all have an account.
All right,
So I'm going to make a suggestion at when we have next meeting agenda items. I have some
Great.
thoughts about what I'd like to hear from AJ.
I don't know if our student rep, who,
but she's at the high school.
I know.
Yeah.
I didn't know if she wanted to
Yeah.
opine on how things are going with the one-to-one program at the high school.
Grab a
yes.
mic, my friends.
We have been using them in our classes, but we go through most of the day where we don't even use the Chromebooks or our own personal computers at all. So I wouldn't say like our computer use has increased since we did the one-to-one. So yeah,
Can I ask what grade are you in, hon?
junior year.
Your junior year? Really? Okay.
I imagine it's more reliable, though, that everybody has them when they need to, and
Yeah.
that the instructor can say that we're doing this today, and everybody is able to pull them out and use them.
I think we've worked the computers into the curriculum versus it just where we didn't necessarily need them before. Now we're putting them in where we don't have to use them, but it's an extra benefit, I guess.
Good.
Okay.
Excellent.
You still take notes.
Would Dr. Craighead share with the other committee members and the viewing public this last year of the E-rate and how we're maximizing that money?
Yes. Perhaps Dr. Pavlicek could speak to it in a more detailed way than I can. I would say exactly what Superintendent Gormley said. This is our last year to use E-rate.
And I would say bravo.
Go ahead.
It's our last year to use E-rate on certain kinds of purchases.
Okay.
E-rate is a particular reimbursement formula for public schools. We had this year's capital over the summer was used to increase the number of access points here at the high school. So, Mr. Pattison was telling us they had done a survey in the afternoon. There were 3,000 devices on across the system at one time, and it was only at 60% peak load. With all the extra devices, you need more access points, particularly places like cafeteria, auditorium, large usage spaces, so large numbers of students can be on at the same time. We had planned on, in the previous 5-year plan, doing Pierce next year and the elementary schools the year after to update the number of access points. The E-rate program is a program that gives us a 40% discount on certain items. And next year is the last year they will give us the discount on the wireless access points. So we pushed the elementary forward a year and said, for 40% off, we'll do them all next year. And the number of access points is for the needed for the middle and elementary is roughly the same as we put in this year in the high school, because this is a higher usage building. But that was the point of pushing that one forward. It's a substantial discount. And so 40% is not something to sneeze at.
Thank you. Okay. Is there more discussion about?
No, thanks, yeah, for
Okay.
answering all that.
So I'll call the vote.
All right. Well, second in case there hasn't been
Oh,
one.
yeah.
but Yeah.
Did we second it? All right.
Second, Donahue.
All right. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, at that meeting, just to continue that until I get to my next item, we're going to have visits at finance subcommittee meetings throughout October from site councils. On the 9th, we will be meeting with Tucker and Milton High School. On the 16th, Glover and Pierce Middle School. And on the 23rd, Collycott and Cunningham. On the 30th of October, we will be looking at district-wide requests and at athletic fees as well. Okay, then the last thing I need to do is to make a motion to approve the vendor warrant, and the number of that warrant is slightly different than what you have in your packet. It's been reduced by $455, and Dr. Pavlicek is going to check to make sure that I say the right number. I'd like to make a motion to approve vendor warrant number 13, dated October 4th, 2018, in the amount of $396,741.41. So I can subtract. That's good. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you
know
very
what? I'm
much.
abstaining, sorry.
Pardon me?
I have to abstain.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Member Varela.
So can I ask, I know we've said it before, but I just want to reiterate that for finance meetings, especially moving forward when those presentations are coming, that, as we've said, that the other members would want to sit in on those and participate, that Charlene posts all of those subcommittee and advisory committees as school committee meetings, open and school committee, so that if we drop in, because it might be a certain more important one, and we want to be able to vet out what needs to be vetted out, that would be great.
All right, I will email Charlene tomorrow and make sure that I request.
But then that goes for all
I've
committee and
conveyed
advisory.
that
Okay,
to her.
just to know.
And
Okay, good.
if I might, to Dr. Craighead, on the final meeting, I think that we should do all the fees, not just the athletic fees
Okay,
proposal.
okay. Okay, so all fees on the 30th. Thank you.
Good.
All right.
Old business, did we execute our arrangement with DRA, or is that still in flux?
They came back with we had asked for a more close breakdown of what the various bullet points in their fee were for. We got that back. Member Rosemarin has it right now.
Okay.
But we haven't signed it yet. It's ready to go.
All right, citizen speak topic response. We don't have one. Next meeting agenda items. Member.
So I don't think it should be the next meeting, because we're going to be busy with, like, you know, the visits and stuff. But I would like, maybe at the end of maybe towards the end of the fall, beginning of the winter, we have A.J. Mellinson come back and give us an update on how all of this is going, and about the digital citizenship curriculum. And also, Dr. Craig and I were discussing after finance as we were walking out, just sort of an update about how technology is being used in the early years. We had talked a lot about the screen time, what were going to be our policies and our procedures around that, because, in sitting there yesterday, when Dr. Spalding and AJ, there's a lot of, and Bob Patterson are there, there's a lot of enthusiasm for technology, which is fabulous, and I'm in a technology course right now, right? Fabulous. But I give a lot of pushback in that course, because as an early childhood person, there's a lot about that piece that is not about technology, and I just want to understand that better, especially about the screen time.
Yes.
And how really they're using it in the early grades. So I would say, if it's in pre-K, great, pre-K to second grade, that window, and then just an update. I think it's going great. They updated us, and
Right.
it certainly sounds like Pierce is hopping over there, but it'd be great to have that. So, maybe December, maybe January. Nothing has to happen now.
Good.
Give some time for it to play out.
Yeah.
Or in the spring.
It's a good idea. Slot that in.
Yeah.
Member Varela.
So I actually thought it was on this one, but I'll give a health and wellness update. I thought that I might have to do it tonight, but I noticed it wasn't there, so.
Oh, next time, great, okay.
Yeah.
May I ask?
Yes.
I remember Member Varela had asked, the next meeting, we go to the high school.
Well, we're here, they come,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted to go into the auditorium, like really go into the high school, but you had mentioned once that you wanted the principal to ask what topic the school committee could cover during the meeting, where you might get hopefully you're going out to the schools to get an audience of parents and guardians from that school. Do you remember this conversation? And so we have our standard agendas, but I wanted to know how the committee, what your pleasure is about other school committee agenda items when you might have that audience in attendance or watching.
So, because I know the high school's different than when we probably go out to the elementaries. Are we going to have, that's I guess my other thing I was thinking of, are we going to have a portion of the meeting to have a forum at each one when we do our site visits? Like, I thought that that's what we would do. So I don't know if it's 20 minutes like you had said before, and I do think that for every visit we do, we should have a forum that's open. And yes, you could reach out to both. I know that we do have a PTO. I mean, I know there's Ann Ellen Lyden and
Sullivan.
The Sullivan, Tricia Sullivan, my brain, Tricia Sullivan. But they do have, I mean, the site council will be presenting, but I do think even if Mr. Jett wants to put out a, I know it's I don't know how many people would do it, but a survey of, from the parent community, if people want to do it, they have a week to do it, to fill it out, but just, one or two topics that they'd want to be addressed in the forum that might deal with high school issues.
So the forum, I'm not clear on this.
So
would you address the item
we
for this 20 minutes? They would ask questions of you on a couple of topics?
Yeah, we could do that. So why don't we do this? We'll have our forum. We can talk space for a few minutes. Maybe end up being a 30-minute forum. We'll talk space for a few minutes. Why don't we think about any topics that we as a committee think are merit our direct engagement with the parent and guardian community at the high school. Why don't we ask Principal Jett and his administrative team to survey the high school in whatever manner they deem appropriate, and we'll come up with a list and curate that list and spend a few minutes engaging on things that are mutually of interest.
So that's a back and forth. So that's in addition to the 15-minute site council presentation.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Would
Yes.
you think about surveying the students at the high school, since they're older and they may have some concerns and
that's
some
an
issues that they would like to
an excellent suggestion.
I'm happy to do that as well. Yeah.
Thank you for that clarification.
That will be fun. Yes, member.
So can I, so if, I just want to double check, so on the agenda, so we have health and wellness, we have the site council, the forum, we'll have Les Mis.
That'll keep us, yeah.
I also invited the boosters to come and present, but is that,
Remember we talked about,
we're going to invite them
to do what?
to explain what they do.
But they don't answer to us.
Neither does the Foundation for Education.
Yes, they do.
So the boosters don't answer us, but they do.
The foundation has a school committee member that sits on its board.
I know, but it's still, I still feel it's a clouded area. Well, you know what, then we won't do it, but let me tell you something. It's going to be on the topic when those
That's great, and
those high school parents come
we
here
can
and they want to
encourage
talk about it. So
those
then what do
parents
we say? We can't
to go
talk
to
about it?
meetings and be involved. So then you want to invite FAME and the PTO and any other nonprofit that, it's a fine line because they're nonprofits that answer to their boards. The foundation is a nonprofit that has a school committee member as a requirement of its bylaws. They answer to, that member has to sit and be a part of the conversation. They can't eliminate that member. They can't eliminate the school committee member.
But I feel that they still support our district, and I'm going to admit that as a school committee member, I don't always know the specifics of how Fame supports it, what the process is, how the boosters support it, what the process is. And I know that you have said, if you want to know, then go to all the meetings. But not every parent can do that. So I don't think it's a bad thing to invite those different groups to give an overview of what they do and how they support the district. I'm not saying it's anything but an education. I think it's important. And I think it's something that I hear from high school parents a lot, that they don't really understand totally how the money's allocated and how they support it. That's all I'm saying. I mean, if you really don't think it's the place, then fine, but that's what I'll tell them then. I'll tell them that they need to go to the meetings. But I don't think it's a bad thing that these groups come and present to us to give us an education about it. And I know there's all these fine line things, just like we can't control PTOs, but if PTOs are gonna, I don't know, gonna go rogue, like we do have a sort of a partnership with all these people in some ways.
Well,
I mean, Dr. Johnny,
why
would you like to
don't we
jump
do
in?
this? So it is an excellent point that there are a number of entities that support us in various capacities. Maybe it's worth a meeting, or instead of having the boosters come at one and the MFE at another, we invite them all.
All right,
And
and I
we'll
think
talk
that
to them
an
all.
informational session for people to come, I just don't want it to appear that we as a school committee, as a legislative body, are asking the boosters to come here and present to us like we asked V to present, like we asked the site councils to present, and then we questioning them about that. That's not the impression that I want to give.
No, nor do I. It's
That's
just
not-
more of
that-
an
so that-
informative
That's the
session.
line
Yeah.
that I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
then I don't want that, because they, like every other organization, support the schools. And if there are policies that we can look at, we discussed this, about fundraising, about relationships we have with nonprofits that support the schools, and we can look at those in policy, right? But I just think that we could invite them all, that would be fine. That piece where you're inviting them to present to school committee seems rather formal to me for a nonprofit that doesn't answer to us as a legislative body. They don't answer, that's not our role as a legislative body for the school district. So that's all I'm saying. But I'm happy that they could all come and present. The foundation is a different beast, if you want to say, because they require a school committee member to sit on their board.
Yeah, but they require a school committee member to sit in their board, but we still don't have control over what they do or how they allocate their money.
Well, yeah, have a vote. Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah,
one vote, but,
no,
2 votes.
2 votes.
well, yours, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So
Yep.
I'm happy, I understand what you're saying, that is a vehicle, we should engage the community in education and information. It's just that part where you ask someone to come and present, and then there might be questions of give and take, and then what does that mean for them as a nonprofit that doesn't answer to us?
And if I might,
Please.
for Member Varela and the viewing public, it's interesting you asked this, because every year I meet with the boosters once a year, the high school principal, the athletic director, and the boosters reached out and want 4 meetings this year. And so, you know how I meet with the PTO presidents. You've come more than anyone to those meetings, informing them.
Yeah.
If you wanted to come when I'm meeting with the boosters, you're more than, I'll let you know when the first meeting is. And so I thought it was a very good sign for them to reach out, to meet with me 4 times during the year. And so if you have a question, and I'd welcome a school committee member in that meeting, I'll let you know when the meeting is.
Yeah.
If you want to, and work around your schedule as a beginning.
I think that's good, but I do think that it would be, again, and I mean that it's not just, it's not that we're here to question them, but it's all, what I'm trying to do is that these are filmed, and they're also reported on, and I just think that having some of those groups come and I'm going to use the word present, I'm going to use the word educate us about what they do would be valuable, so that it broadens an awareness. Because there's a lot of people who can't make the booster meetings, but their kids are involved in sports and they do have questions, and it would just be nice to have that done, I think. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
you and
We'll
Dr.
start
Johnny
might be the
can
meeting.
So good.
chat it
So
over.
we'll put that on the,
Yeah.
and then for the next meeting, so we're sort of full up for the next meeting between that and our standard subcommittees and advisory committees.
When is the meeting after that?
Meeting after that is
Or-
the first week of November. Yeah. And I'm not,
I think we're back out at a school that one. I think you're
yeah,
Well,
Glover.
so.
okay.
Okay. All right, citizens speak. There's nobody here for the second round, so I'm going to move that we adjourn into executive session, the purpose of which is to discuss the strategy for contract negotiations with union personnel, the discussion of which an open session would be detrimental to our bargaining position. This is a roll call vote. Member White?
Yes.
Dr. Craig?
Yes.
Member Eberhart?
Yes.
Member Bell?
Yep.
Yes. So we are adjourned into executive session, not to return to open session. Thank you very much.